Pasta night. It is one of life's simplest pleasures. Boil the noodles, crack open a jar, and dinner is served. But what if that jar sitting in your pantry is hiding a dark secret? Behind those colorful labels promising homemade taste and authentic Italian flavor, many pasta sauces are loaded with added sugars, inflammatory oils, and sodium levels that rival fast food. Some jars contain more sugar per serving than a bowl of frosted cereal. Others use chemical thickeners and flavor enhancers instead of real slow-cooked ingredients. So, before you pour that next spoonful, you need to know the truth. 12. Creamy Alfredo sauces. When you think of Alfredo sauce, you probably picture rich butter, fresh cream, and real Parmesan melted together the way it has been made in Italian kitchens for generations. But crack open a jar from your grocery store and you will find something very different hiding behind that comforting white color. Most jarred Alfredo sauces are built on a foundation of soybean oil, modified cornstarch, and gums like xanthan to create a thick, creamy texture without using actual cream. The cheese you taste is often cheese powder, not aged Parmesan, combined with stabilizers and flavor enhancers designed to mimic the richness of real dairy. These shortcuts allow manufacturers to keep costs low and shelf life long while your body pays the price. The sodium levels are staggering. A single quarter-cup serving of some popular brands contains over 400 milligrams of sodium, which is nearly 18% of your daily recommended intake. And who stops at a quarter cup? Most people use double or triple that amount, which means one plate of fettuccine can push you toward half your daily sodium limit before you have even added salt to your pasta water. Even worse, some Alfredo sauces pack 6 grams of saturated fat in that same tiny serving, hitting 30% of your daily value. Dietitians consistently rank jarred Alfredo among the unhealthiest pasta sauces available because the combination of processed oils, sodium, and artificial thickeners creates a product that barely resembles what you would make at home. If creamy pasta is what you crave, this jar is one to leave on the shelf. 11. 4 cheese sauces. The name alone sounds indulgent. 4 different cheeses blended into one velvety sauce. It conjures images of aged Parmesan, sharp Romano, creamy mozzarella, and tangy provolone slowly melted together. But here is the reality that most shoppers never see. Flip over that jar and look at the ingredient list. In many 4 cheese sauces, the actual cheese content is shockingly low. Some brands contain less than 2% real cheese, relying instead on cheese powders, whey protein concentrates, and maltodextrin to create the illusion of cheesy richness. According to food industry standards, cheese powder can legally contain as little as 15% actual cheese, with the rest made up of vegetable oils, stabilizers, and flavor enhancers like MSG and autolyzed yeast extract. One popular brand lists tomato puree, water, and high fructose corn syrup as the top 3 ingredients, with the cheese blend buried much further down. That means you are paying premium prices for what is essentially sweetened tomato sauce with a dusting of processed cheese flavor. The sodium content follows the same troubling pattern. A half-cup serving often delivers over 450 milligrams, and because these sauces taste rich and salty, it is easy to pour far more than the suggested amount. The texture may feel creamy in your mouth, but that sensation comes from gums and emulsifiers, not from real melted cheese slowly coating your pasta. When 4 cheese sauce promises gourmet flavor but delivers chemistry lab shortcuts, it belongs on your avoid list. 10. Sweet tomato sauces. Tomato sauce should taste like tomatoes, ripe, sun-warmed, slightly acidic, and naturally sweet from the fruit itself. But walk down the pasta aisle of any American grocery store and you will find jars hiding a dirty secret. They are loaded with added sugar. Many popular brands contain anywhere from 7 to 12 grams of sugar per half-cup serving. To put that in perspective, some jars pack more sugar than a chocolate chip cookie. The reason is simple. Manufacturers often use low-quality tomato paste that lacks natural sweetness and depth, so they compensate by dumping in cane sugar, corn syrup, or the worst offender of all, high fructose corn syrup. One widely available brand lists high fructose corn syrup as a primary ingredient, contributing to 8 grams of sugar per serving. Research has linked regular consumption of high fructose corn syrup to increased risks of liver disease, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes. And because the sweetness masks the artificial taste of cheap tomatoes, most consumers never realize they are essentially eating dessert with their dinner. The American Heart Association recommends women consume no more than 24 grams of added sugar per day and men no more than 36 grams. A single generous serving of sweetened pasta sauce can eat up a third or more of that limit before you have even touched bread, salad dressing, or anything else in your meal. If your marinara tastes more like ketchup than Italian cooking, now you know why. Real tomato sauce does not need a sugar disguise. 9. Vodka sauces. Vodka sauce has become a restaurant favorite, that blush pink creation that combines tomatoes, cream, and a splash of vodka for a rich, slightly tangy finish. When made properly with fresh ingredients, it can be a genuinely indulgent treat. But the jarred versions lining grocery store shelves tell a very different story. Many commercial vodka sauces skip real heavy cream entirely, replacing it with soybean oil, cream powders, and emulsifiers to fake that silky texture. The vodka itself is often minimal, used more as a marketing term than an actual flavor. Component. What you get instead is a sauce built on cheap oils and artificial flavor enhancers designed to trick your taste buds into thinking you are eating something luxurious. The nutritional profile is alarming. One popular brand packs 610 milligrams of sodium into a single half-cup serving, which is 25% of your entire daily recommended intake. Add 9 grams of sugar and 5 grams of saturated fat to that same serving, and you have a sauce that dietitians have called one of the worst on grocery store shelves. A registered dietitian reviewing jarred vodka sauces noted that the combination of high fat and high sodium makes them especially problematic for heart health. And because vodka sauce already sounds indulgent, many people assume the jarred version is simply a convenient shortcut to restaurant quality. The truth is far less appetizing. Between the processed oils, sodium overload, and artificial creaminess, most jarred vodka sauces are a far cry from what you would find in an Italian kitchen. Save this one for a homemade night when you can control what actually goes into your pan. 8. Low-fat or light sauces. It sounds like a healthy swap. Grab the low-fat or light version of your favorite marinara and cut back on calories without sacrificing flavor. But here is what the food industry does not want you to know. When fat is removed from a sauce, something else has to take its place. And that something is almost always worse for you than the fat ever was. Fat carries flavor. It is what makes food taste rich and satisfying. When manufacturers strip it out, they compensate by adding sugar, starches, gums, and artificial thickeners to recreate the mouthfeel you expect. One popular low-calorie marinara contains 0 grams of fat, but packs 8 grams of sugar per serving, 3 of which are added. That is essentially trading natural richness for processed sweetness, turning your pasta sauce into something closer to ketchup than Italian cooking. The ingredient lists on these light versions often read like science experiments. Modified food starch, xanthan gum, maltodextrin, and natural flavors appear where simple olive oil and tomatoes should be. These additives are designed to trick your palate into thinking you are eating something substantial when you are really consuming a highly processed imitation of real food. Nutritionists have consistently pointed out that the fat in traditional tomato sauce, especially when it comes from olive oil, provides heart-healthy benefits and helps your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins like lycopene from the tomatoes. Stripping that fat removes both the flavor and the nutrition, leaving you with a watery, sweet, and ultimately unsatisfying product. If you want to eat healthier, skip the light label and choose a sauce with real ingredients instead. Your taste buds and your body will thank you. 7. Meat-flavored sauces. When you see meat-flavored on a pasta sauce label, you probably imagine chunks of slow-cooked beef or Italian sausage simmered into a rich, savory tomato base. But flip that jar around and read the fine print, because the reality is far less appetizing. Many so-called meat sauces contain almost no actual meat at all, One widely available brand lists beef as the sixth ingredient, appearing after tomato puree, water, and high fructose corn syrup. Instead of real cooked protein, these sauces rely on dehydrated beef extract, hydrolyzed corn protein, beef stock powder, and caramel coloring to simulate the taste and appearance of a hearty meat sauce. The USDA allows manufacturers to use dried meat stocks, meat extracts, and hydrolyzed proteins as flavor enhancers rather than primary ingredients. That means the meaty flavor you taste often comes from industrial processing rather than from actual beef or pork slowly breaking down in tomato sauce the way your grandmother would have made it. Beyond the lack of real meat, these sauces often contain preservatives, added sugars, and high sodium levels to extend shelf life and boost flavor. One serving can deliver nearly 500 milligrams of sodium along with sugar listed multiple times in the ingredient list. The combination of processed extracts, flavor powders, and chemical enhancers creates a sauce that tastes vaguely meaty but delivers none of the protein, iron, or nutrients you would get from real cooked ground beef. If you want meat in your sauce, the answer is simple. Buy plain marinara and brown your own ground beef or sausage at home. It takes minutes and gives you actual protein instead of a laboratory approximation. 6. Chunky vegetable sauces. A sauce packed with garden vegetables sounds like a nutritional win. Peppers, zucchini, mushrooms, and carrots mixed into a rich tomato base, the kind of meal that makes you feel good about what you are eating. But many jarred, chunky vegetable sauces are not delivering the fresh produce their labels promise. To keep costs low and shelf life long, manufacturers often use rehydrated vegetables instead of fresh ones. These dehydrated pieces are reconstituted during processing, which strips away much of the flavor, texture, and nutritional value that fresh vegetables provide. What looks like a hearty chunk of zucchini or bell pepper may have spent months as a dried powder before being plumped back up with water and mixed into your sauce. The ingredient lists reveal even more shortcuts. Soybean oil, sugar, citric acid, calcium chloride, and the ever-vague natural flavors appear alongside the vegetables. These additives compensate for the lack of depth that comes from using processed rather than fresh produce. Industrial flavor boosters are added to mimic the taste of vegetables that were actually sautéed in olive oil and slowly simmered with tomatoes. One popular chunky garden vegetable sauce lists soybean oil before most of the actual vegetables, with sugar and salt added to enhance flavor artificially. The result is a sauce that looks colorful and wholesome but tastes manufactured rather than homemade. Real vegetable sauces get their flavor from fresh produce, cooked slowly until the natural sugars caramelize and the flavors concentrate. Jarred versions take shortcuts that trade nutrition and taste for convenience and profit. If you want vegetables in your pasta, chop them yourself and let them simmer. The difference is unmistakable. 5. Spicy tomato sauces. There is something deeply satisfying about a spicy tomato sauce. That slow building heat from real chilies, the way it warms your mouth and complements the acidity of ripe tomatoes. Traditional arrabbiata sauce gets its kick from dried red chili peppers simmered slowly in olive oil until their heat infuses every drop. But many jarred, spicy sauces take a very different approach. Instead of real peppers cooked low and slow, some commercial spicy sauces rely on citric acid, natural flavor enhancers, and isolated capsaicin compounds to create the sensation of heat without the depth that comes from actual chilies. The result is a sauce that burns your tongue but lacks the complex, layered spiciness of peppers that have been properly developed through cooking. Citric acid appears in nearly every jarred spicy sauce, used both as a preservative and as a way to add sharpness that mimics the brightness of fresh tomatoes and peppers. While small amounts are harmless, heavy use can create an artificial tartness that overwhelms the natural flavors. Combined with sugar, which many spicy sauces contain to balance the acid, you end up with a product that tastes more chemically engineered than slow simmered. Even sauces marketed as premium or authentic often list their spice components near the bottom of the ingredient list, indicating that the heat comes from minimal amounts of actual pepper supplemented by flavor boosters. Traditional Italian arrabbiata uses just olive oil, garlic, tomatoes, and generous amounts of crushed red chili, nothing more. If you love spicy food, Look for sauces where dried chili peppers or crushed red pepper appear high on the ingredient list, or better yet, make your own. Real heat should come from real peppers, not from a chemistry lab. 4. Extra smooth marinara. There is something appealing about a perfectly smooth marinara, that silky sauce that coats your pasta without a single chunk or bump. But have you ever wondered how jarred sauces achieve that unnaturally uniform texture? The answer has nothing to do with traditional Italian cooking. Real smooth marinara gets its consistency from hours of slow simmering. As tomatoes break down over low heat, their natural pectin releases and creates a velvety texture. That process takes time, patience, and quality ingredients. Jarred versions take a very different route. They rely on modified cornstarch, xanthan gum, and emulsifiers to create instant thickness without any actual cooking. Modified food starch is chemically or physically treated to improve its thickening ability under industrial processing conditions. It absorbs water and swells to create viscosity, giving sauces a consistent texture that can survive high heat, acidic environments, and months of shelf storage. The result is a sauce that looks smooth but feels artificial in your mouth, with a glossy sheen that real slow-cooked tomatoes simply do not produce. Emulsifiers are added to prevent the oil and water in the sauce from separating, keeping the product stable in the jar but creating a texture that food scientists describe as more like a processed gel than a genuine sauce. You can taste the difference immediately. Real marinara has depth and complexity from tomatoes that have caramelized and concentrated. Jarred, smooth versions taste flat, with their thickness coming from laboratory additives rather than patient cooking. If you want silky sauce, make it yourself. Let those tomatoes simmer until they surrender naturally. 3. Creamy tomato blends. Pink sauce, rose sauce, creamy tomato, whatever you call it, this hybrid has become a comfort food favorite. When done right, it combines the brightness of tomatoes with the richness of cream for something truly indulgent. But many jarred versions are cutting corners that turn this beloved sauce into a processed imposter. Real creamy tomato sauce is simple: quality tomatoes, fresh heavy cream, garlic, and perhaps a splash of wine simmered together until the flavors marry. What you often find in jars is a very different formula: tomato paste stretched with water, soybean oil replacing real cream, and sugar added to mask the lack of depth from fresh ingredients. Many commercial creamy tomato sauces use cream powders or dried dairy substitutes instead of actual cream. These powdered products are cheaper, shelf-stable, and easier to work with in industrial production. But they lack the richness and mouthfeel that real dairy provides. To compensate, manufacturers add emulsifiers and gums to simulate creaminess, creating a sauce that coats your tongue but disappears without leaving any real satisfaction. The sugar content in these blends is particularly troubling because the tomato base is often diluted paste rather than ripe. Sweet tomatoes, sugar is added to create the illusion of natural sweetness. Combined with the inflammatory oils and artificial thickeners, you end up with a sauce that tastes vaguely creamy but delivers none of the simple pleasure of real tomatoes and real cream slowly combined over a warm stove. Skip the jar and make your own pink sauce. It takes 15 minutes and tastes infinitely better. 2. Restaurant-style premium sauces. The label says restaurant style or gourmet quality, and the price is a few dollars higher than the basic brands. Surely you are getting something closer to what a real Italian kitchen would serve. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Many of these premium sauces are just better marketing wrapped around the same processed ingredients. Flip over those expensive jars and you will find the same starches, gums, and refined oils that appear in budget brands. Modified cornstarch thickens the sauce without slow simmering. Xanthan gum creates a clingy texture that mimics the body of a long-cooked sauce. Soybean or canola oil replaces the extra virgin olive oil that any real restaurant would use as a foundation. The premium label often comes from minor additions like a sprinkling of dried basil, a touch more garlic powder, or the phrase imported tomatoes on the front. But the underlying architecture of the sauce remains industrial. These products are designed to imitate gourmet texture while keeping production costs low enough to maintain profit margins even at higher retail prices. Food manufacturers know that consumers associate thickness and glossiness with quality, So they engineer sauces that look restaurant-worthy in the pan, but achieve that appearance through chemical thickeners rather than patient cooking. The flavor tells the real story. Premium jarred sauces often taste flat and one-dimensional compared to a simple homemade marinara made with canned San Marzano tomatoes, olive oil, and fresh garlic. Do not let a fancy label convince you to pay more for the same processed shortcuts. 1. Ready-made lasagna sauces. And now we arrive at the worst offender on our list. Ready-made lasagna sauces are specifically designed to hold up through layering, baking, and reheating, which means they are engineered for durability, not flavor. The result is one of the most heavily processed sauce categories in the entire grocery aisle. Look at the ingredient list on any popular lasagna sauce and you will find a chemistry experiment. Modified cornstarch appears multiple times to ensure the sauce does not break down during the long baking process. Whey powders and dried dairy substitutes replace real cheese and cream. Soybean oil provides fat without the cost of olive oil. Mono and diglycerides act as emulsifiers to keep everything bound together. Yeast extract and caramel coloring add flavor and appearance that the base ingredients cannot provide on their own. One frozen lasagna product lists modified food starch 3 separate times in its ingredient panel, along with corn syrup solids, beef fat, and soy sauce mixed into its sauce base. That is not Italian cooking. That is industrial food science designed to survive freezing, thawing, and reheating while maintaining a consistent appearance. The sodium levels are staggering, often exceeding 500 milligrams per serving before you even add cheese or meat. Combined with added sugars, preservatives, and artificial thickeners, these sauces represent everything that has gone wrong with convenience food. Real lasagna sauce is just tomatoes, olive oil, garlic, and herbs simmered together. It takes the same amount of time to make as assembling a lasagna from a jar. Your family deserves better than this processed pile of shortcuts. Make the sauce yourself.